Urban agriculture has been here for a while, right from old times when properties in cities were grounded and everybody had home gardens, and they used to have dash into their home gardens for curry leaves or other simple things and go to santes once in a while. And they had decent yield also because you had pollinators straddled from the semi-natural areas that were there. You used to have empty plots with wild vegetation. So there was a lot of flow back and forth of pollinators into from the wild areas into the garden and from the garden to the wild areas. There was a good pollination. But in recent times, you should agree the built areas increased disproportionately, and also most of the properties are elevated. We don't have so much of grounded space, so the gardens are being set up in terraces. So what we have come up with is to sort of enhance this pollination service. What we think is a nature-based solution. It's in its pilot phase. We are trying out. We are calling it as a pollinator-linked urban multifunctional ecosystems, where we are trying to not only promote pollinators but also bring in other elements of biodiversity. So we're going to be trying this in common spaces like your lake shore, schools, household terraces, and multiple places wherever people are willing. And right now we are focusing in Jakkur and willing to take it forward when we are successful.
What we are trying to do through our study here is to support pollinators and other biodiversity in urban green spaces such as gardens. And research has shown that bees are able to navigate the complex mosaic that the urban environment is, given that there are resource patches containing these important resources and that they are within flying distance of each other. When we are talking about bees, it's important to keep in mind that there are many species of bees that live all around us. Honeybees are one kind that make honey and build hives even on buildings and other man-made structures. There are also several other bees that don't build beehives, and these bees need soil or dead wood for nesting substrate. And we have seen that these kind of nesting materials are really hard to come by in a city environment. This is where bee hotels come in. They provide nesting substrate for bees which need dead wood, twigs and bamboo. At the same time, they also help us answer pressing research questions. We are able to find out what bees exist in the urban environment and which ones use these pre-made structures and which don't. So it's also a very important learning exercise for us. So a great way to have bees and other pollinators in your garden is by just growing the right kind of plants. So instead of merely growing ornamental plants, if we are a little thoughtful about our choice of plants, that could go a long way. So growing food plants is a great option, and food gardens are very good for pollinators and other forms of biodiversity, because these plants have flowers that the bees pollinate, that they get food resources from, and at the same time our gardens do better. They are thriving, they have lots of interesting biodiversity, and our yield, fruit yield, is much better. So having home gardens is multifunctional in so many ways. Not just do you have fresh food and zero packaging and reduced carbon footprint of your food consumption, you also have places where you can observe and connect with nature. In fact, this is a very central principle of what we are doing. We are going along the lines of reconciliation ecology, where we try to create spaces that are mutually beneficial, not just for biodiversity but for us as well. So these home gardens are also great educational spaces. They give us opportunities to study nature up close and connect with it, and it's great fun to go out and look at everything that's in your garden, be it the plants or the insects or other animals or the interactions between all these various creatures. It can even be very interesting research. I mean, just observing things can help record a lot of important changes that are taking place slowly over time.
Hi, I am excited to share my observation of solitary bees in our city. We have encountered 28 bee species so far. Out of them, 82% are solitary bees, rest are social bees. So this lake supports many types of bees, including social bees and solitary bees. To assess the bee, we have used pine traps, sweep netting and bee hotels to learn more about them. So while assessing, we observed large carpenter bees here, their Xylocopa species, and small carpenter bees, Serratina binghami species, and also ground nesting bees, blue-banded bee, which is Amegilla species. And also we observed cavity nesting bees, resin bees, which are Megachilus species. And we planted here rose plants because we observed leafcutter bees here. The leafcutter bees loves rose. They cut out the leaf pieces for their nests. This is our bee resort. This is especially for solitary bees. So we observed during our visitation study, we observed so many cavity nesting bees, resin bees here. And last month we saw one resin bee made a nest here, and it's few days ago the brood came out from the nest. And this is not only for solitary bees, and we observed wasps also here. They also play a vital role in the pollination. I would like to appreciate these tiny but mighty pollinators, and I encourage to create a bee-friendly city.
So I still remember a classroom full of school kids answering that their vegetables come from the nearby shop, and that's the connection urban kids and adults have with the food that they consume every day. Edible gardens will help them make better connection with the food, and spending 15 to 20 minutes in the garden every day will help them release happy hormones like dopamine, serotonin and endorphins. So we encourage people to use open pollinated seeds which are local variety, and these are the seeds that we directly source from the farmers, and we gave as a part of a seed bank, and these seeds can be used again and again for sowing purpose. So what more one would want it when fresh naturally grown vegetables are delivered at your doorstep, and also rush into your garden and pluck aloe vera when your skin gets burnt.
So we are sourcing seeds directly from the farmer, which are highly dependent on pollinators. And secondly, we have no policy to be non-biodegradable in a garden. So we are using trellis, pergola structure which are made out of lantana. So these lantana species are invasive, where it is suppressing forest species. So these lantana structures are aesthetically made by our tribal artisans in hemp mills.
Welcome to my little garden. I've been gardening for the last 5-6 years. I love organic gardening, no chemicals used in my garden. This is my tiny little garden where you can see, and this is my kamba, where we prepare our manure with all the organic waste that we get from our kitchen and garden. And you see this, my bird feeder. So we are attracting not just the plants, but also other pollinators and other living beings. So this is all about co-living. The little bees that come into my garden and help in the pollination. I'm a proud Plumian now, and thanks to PLUME team for helping me reset up my garden, and my garden is thriving again. Thank you so much.